Hello, IAMPRO community. As always, I'm Charlie Brooks. And today we've got the gorgeous Faye Marsay with us. You might know Faye from her extensive CV, which includes Fresh Meat, Black Mirror, Game of Thrones, which is one of my personal favourite, Deep Water. She's done so much theatre. And I am so thrilled to have her on here. Faye Marsay Q&A, all rhymes. It's brilliant. So I am going to get her on this gorgeous screen. There she is, Faye. Hi.
You all right?
Welcome to IAMPRO. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
What made you want to be an actor? Like, what drew you to the arts? Was it a young age?
Yeah, I was really young. I don't come from a theatre background at all. I come from like a very working class northeast steelworking community, and I remember being taken to see a panto when I was like 6, and it was kind of like I didn't really know what I felt about it in terms of like it was seeing it and seeing the people enjoy themselves, the actors really enjoying themselves, and I was like, there's something in that. Like even as a 6-year-old, I was like, there's something in that, and I think it was kind of like that looks so much fun, and watching an actor really be in their element and enjoy themselves while they're doing it is, I think, one of the reasons that makes it so fun and so appealing to go to theatre, and all good TV. So it was kind of then, and then I wanted to be a footballer, so I used to play football and stuff, but I don't know. Then I was about 12 and I got into a Saturday drama club vibe. And then, as always, it was a teacher at school. It was a really good drama teacher and an English teacher that sort of pushed me. So I ended up doing National Youth Theatre when I was 16. First time in London, which was like mind-blowing because it was just so different from what was used to. Trying to make this really quick. And then...
What was your audition process for National Youth like?
I remember I was 14 the first time I tried and I didn't get in. And I thought, well, okay, fine. I'm going to get in the next year. And I didn't get in. And then I got in eventually when I was 16. Yeah. So it was because I had such good teachers at school in terms of the drama department and being pushed like that, I'm going back, because I had that support. I had a teacher that really, well, 2 teachers, 3 actually, that really believed in me. So, yeah, so that was that. And then, so I did the 2 weeks, the course in London and still mates with some of the girls that I met on that course. And then I left it alone for a bit and I went to uni and did a course I didn't want to do, which was it was theatre and performance, but it was more kind of like, theory based, and I wasn't really into that. I wanted to do the actual acting.
So, and where was that?
Where? I went to Bretton Hall, which is like it's like Yorkshire Sculpture Park. I don't even think it's there anymore. But I went there, and it wasn't that was bad. It was just that it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And so I left there, and then I messed around and kind of lost my confidence a bit, and just kind of didn't really the acting would be a thing anymore, and started doing other things and trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to do? And then I went to Newcastle College and did a degree there in performance because I knew that they had like a course that was practical. And then there I did a play at Northern Stage and met Erica Wyman, who had been to Bristol Old Vic, and an actress that I did the play with was a Bristol Old Vic girl, and they were like, you should audition for Bristol. And then I ended up going to Bristol Old Vic when I was 23, so I was a bit later.
So you completed your 3 years at uni?
Yeah.
And then, because actually drama schools do like taking people a little bit older, don't they? I think generally the consensus is they like you to go out and have a little bit of like life experience.
That's the usual. Yeah. So in a way, I guess that did help, but I was also kind of terrified at drama school. I mean, I wouldn't have done the things I'd done if I hadn't have gone. For me, it worked in terms of, because I didn't know anyone from the industry, right? I didn't, my parents, bless them, they aren't theatre people. They're not, we're not from that world. So Bristol was really important for me for the exposure and the discipline and yeah, and just feeling, I don't know, feeling like I could immerse myself more in that world and get in touch with people. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had a clue, and it wouldn't have worked for me. I really, really don't think it would have, you know, because of where I come from, and you know, the sort of family and the world I'm living in. So it was important to me, but it, you know, it was also a nightmare in terms of funding it. Because,
so how did you talk to me about that?
well, so the first year was kind of like writing to people, and my mum, bless her, took out a loan, and you know, various people kind of just sort of saying like, I really want to go. And then the second year, the school were amazing, and they gave me a grant and paid my fees for me. Otherwise, you know, I don't know if I would have I'd have been able to stay either, which is kind of really sad to think about. But it's not lost on me how difficult it is for people to get into these places when it's 50 quid an audition, right? And then two, to find the money to even go, because you know you need to live and eat and stay somewhere when you're there. I'm not from Bristol, so I had to rent. So you know, it's not lost on me how hard that is. But this is why this platform is so cool.
Well, you know, that's what we're just trying to offer people, another way in for those that aren't, you know, lucky enough to be able to get into drama school, I suppose. It's, you know, it's unaffordable and accessible for so many people, isn't it? Which is, you know, why we're here. So can you remember, I mean, this is slightly random, but I know that we do have young people that are looking to go to drama school. What pieces you did for your audition or not?
I can remember my Shakespeare was Rosalind from As You Like It.
Yeah.
I can't remember how that speech starts now, but it and Why I Pray You, that one.
Why I Pray.
Yeah, and my modern was it was from a play called Why Is John Lennon Wearing a Skirt? But was it Claire Dowie that wrote that? I think so. I think that's what it was. Anyway, yeah. And then I did like a song, and I just like, I can't really sing. I just sort of sang something from Annie.
What did you go for from Annie?
You know, it wasn't a beautiful sound, but you know, I got in. I don't know how, but anyway, I did. So those were my pieces. Pretty sure that's what they were. Yeah.
I always get asked so often, oh, what should I do? And I think it's really nice for people to be, you know, read plays that they might not have read and to know what other people did. Yeah.
Art is amazing for sort of new writing, and if you go to, you know, any sort of the National Theatre's library or whatever, places like that, they have so many new playwrights in there which are worth having a look at for sure for audition pieces. Yeah.
I used to spend hours in the Royal Court downstairs.
Railing.
Slipping notes, the artistic director's room.
Yeah, exactly.
Never came of any good, not yet anyway. I need to go back and do another one.
It will.
It will. So let's talk a little bit about your first job and when you left drama school, and you know what that experience was like going into your first professional job.
Okay, so I went to Bristol Vic, which is primarily a theatre school, right? So I kind of trained more to do plays and be on stage. And then I was put forward for this thing called the Spotlight Prize, where you get one student from each drama school, and you all go and do a monologue in London, and they invite like casting directors and all that. And so I did that, and from that I got quite good exposure to certain casting directors. And so my first job actually came pretty quick out of drama school, which was a real shock, because I thought I'd be sat in my knickers for 5 years eating beans, right? But it wasn't. It took 6 weeks. And wow. It was crazy. So I auditioned for this thing called The White Queen, which was a BBC Stars co-production, and it was like a period drama set in the War of the Roses. And I actually got one of the leading roles on that, which was absolutely bonkers. And I can always remember my first day on set, like needing a big glass of water and not being able to talk to anyone, and not really knowing what anything was, what a first AD was, or like nothing. colour, and because I wasn't really prepped for that. Not to say Bristol didn't care about TV, it's just our focus was much more to do with the theatre and stage, you know. So that was a bit of a shock. Yeah.
Do they have a separate screen acting course at Bristol, or is it?
They didn't when I was there.
Right. Okay.
I've been out there. It'll be 10 years this year since I left drama school. Mental. Yeah. So, but they might have one now. I know they're doing more, like a director's course and stuff like that going. So I don't know. I imagine they will. They will.
Yeah. So how did you manage that then on set? Did you ask loads of questions? Like,
yeah,
how did you...
I was shy. I was quite shy. I'm really shy. People don't believe me, but I am really shy. So it took me a while, but then it kind of felt like that. I don't know. It felt like a really comfortable place to be after a while. And then once everyone was sort of friendly with me and things started moving, then I sort of learned on the job, if you like, in terms of the film stuff, definitely. And to be honest, you know, that's kind of the best place to learn because it's happening in real time, and you know. But that was a particularly good crew in terms of they all knew it was my first job, and they were all incredibly kind, and the other actors were lovely as well. And so I was on it for 8 months. So I moved to like Bruges in Belgium. Yeah, it was cool. So it was a real like just get on with it and this is how it's done kind of vibe, and I loved it.
Yeah, you're immersed in there, good and proper. It's great, isn't it, when your work takes you away and you're sort of living and breathing the cast and crew. It's, you know, I love that. I love it.
And it was a young group of people, right? So we were all, I mean, to be honest, I was 25, so my first professional screen gig was when I was 25, which some people think is old. But yeah, so one of them. But yeah, it's cool.
I've just turned 40, so I'm really old now.
I'm mid-30s. It's all good. It's all right.
It's all good, babe. We get better with age. We
will.
Okay, so you learned what you needed to learn on the set, and you do you experience many nerves, being shy and feeling, you know, a little nervous in a new environment? How do you manage those?
Nervous human being generally.
Are you?
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes you've just got to embrace those kind of things and kind of not. I try now not to be so negative and hard on myself because I am quite shy and sensitive and nervous about things, and can't, you know, it's a blessing and a burden. How do I manage it? The wanting to do it far outweighs the nerves, and those nerves getting in the way of me not. I mean, to be honest with you, I get terrible stage fright. That's still something that I need to work through, and that I'm going to work on. The last play I did was at the Donmar a couple of years ago, and as much as I loved it and enjoyed it, you know, the stage fright stuff was definitely there. So, you know, it happens to all of us. I just have to tell myself that, you know, not doing it would be worse than just doing it and being terrified. You know,
it can really get in the way, can't it? Sometimes if you're on the side of the stage and you actually think, "Why am I doing this?"
Yeah, but, I mean, before I go on every night, I'll get really mad with myself, and I'll be like, "I'm never doing this again. Never doing this to myself again." I'm like, why? Why do I want to do this? Like, you know, just really horrible to myself. And then on you're aware. But yeah, it's a weird one, the nerves. But I think they're important, and I think they serve a purpose. And as long as you can harness them properly and use them in the work that you're doing, then it's not necessarily something you need to get rid of. You just need to make friends with, and just know that, you know, the love for it needs to outweigh the fear, and if it does, then
So then, has it pretty much since your first job, have you had much time of unemployment in between there? Because I was looking at your CV, I was like, oh, I don't think she's stopped.
Well, obviously COVID has put a stinker on the last year. I am on a shoot at the moment, thank God, which is an 8-month shoot. So I'm just like so immensely grateful for that, and it feels really nice to be back. But and then before that, I was off. Oh God, I did the play, and then I didn't work for maybe a year, maybe just under a year.
What do you do in that time? How do you keep yourself busy? Are you proactive, or are you like just gonna watch another episode on Netflix?
Yeah, see, I'm pretty I have quite a short attention span. So when it comes to learning lines, for example, I'll decide that I'm going to rearrange my knicker drawer instead of, or like my sock drawer. Like, I'm weird. It's like I sort of procrastinate, because if I'm in the thing, then, you know, I get sort of in it, you know. But what was the question there? It's just gone.
I was just identifying with all your procrastination there. I hear you with that. The question was, what do you get up to on your year off, and when you're not working in between jobs?
Well, it was the first.
And do you train as well? Sorry, do you continue your training like the Americans do as well?
Do you know, that is something that I've just recently started doing. So I was feeling like stuck, and I was feeling like that I couldn't get into roles, and everything just felt kind of like, I don't know how to describe this. Everything felt quite flat for a little while there. And I thought, I'm going to have to do something about this, because I don't want to just show up to work and not really want to be there, or not really believe why I'm there or anything like that. For me, that's like, you know, it's pointless doing it if you're not, you know, really sort of, I don't know, just brought to life by it, right? And what was happening was I was getting auditions, and I was kind of, I was just feeling a bit disconnected from it. So what I did was I reached out to an acting coach who I just go and see and explore scenes with, and it could be, you know, any scene about anything. It's just the doing of it, muscle, and enjoying just someone saying, okay, read this, and then come back, and then let's like work on it, is something that, even though I'm very self-conscious and very shy, and it takes me a minute, even in front of this guy, to kind of dare to say the lines out loud, it's refreshing, because actually what I'm doing is a thing that I like doing, and trying to find ways of getting better at it. And, you know, no footballer just doesn't train, no musician doesn't practice. So I feel with actors, you know, there's this weird sort of, I don't know, I wouldn't call it snobbery, but there's an attitude towards, once you've been to drama school, once you've trained, that's it, then you should know it now. Oh, I should know it, you know. And it's just not true. If you've got a year off, you need to be doing something. And you know, a lot of my friends write. I'm not into writing. As much as I respect it and think it's genius, and anyone who can write anything, I'm like, oh my God, you are godlike to me. I just can't do it. That's not what I'm interested in. That doesn't set me on fire, you know. It's doing of it, the physically doing it, that does it for me. So
same. And actually working with a coach really inspires me, you know, on different material. You can choose things that you love to do, because often we get scripts that we don't love, you know, and we have to do, but
a lot.
It really helps me fall back in love, and you know, hearing, I mean, it always amazes me how there's so much I miss in scripts constantly. Oh my God, why didn't I see that? How did I not see it like that? You know, and the Americans train weekly, don't they? They go to class. That's sort of just the way it's done over there. And I think it's starting to drip feed its way in over here, but it's really important to keep that consistent training up, I would say.
I think so. And, you know, I was of the mind a couple of years ago of like, oh, well, I've been to drama school, so really, actually, then I should just like know what to do. And it's just not, I don't think it's true. And you know, it's something that you have to invest in if you love it. And you've got to, I don't know, if you love it, you kind of want to do it, right? But if what are you going to do? So I hear you, but it is new to me. It's new.
I don't think there's one way to, I mean, drama school is a really amazing route if you can do that. I was speaking to a casting director the other day who was like, tell them to do 3 months somewhere at Juilliard, or do a 3-month course and then get in, you know, and there's so many different routes, aren't there, you know, and because one isn't necessarily right for everyone.
No. I mean, you know, part of me, I'm sure the school won't mind me saying this, part of me after my first year at Bristol felt like I didn't fit in there or want to be there, and was struggling with it for sure. There's no one way to get into it. There's no one way to do it. Actors like Andrew Scott, they never went to drama school. I have loads of mates that didn't train that are doing perfectly well and are just as equipped and talented, if not more, than the ones that have been to drama school. So it's like it's art at the end of the day, and that accepts all kinds as far as I'm concerned. There's no one way in, although it might present itself that way. People who've been to drama school sometimes do get seen more, or that's how it used to be. I don't know if it's like that now. But yeah.
I think it's changing. I do think it's changing. Why do you think you didn't fit in there after the first year?
I think for me it was a confidence thing, because I think it's important as actors to be honest about how doing this job sometimes makes you feel, and for me at that point in my life, I was just struggling with some self-esteem stuff, and also I'll be honest, and I'm sure again my mates won't mind me saying this, I did feel like I came from a bit of a different world to the majority of the people at the school. But not to say that people were awful to me, they weren't. I've got some of my best friends for life, come from Bristol and come from being at drama school, and I very much felt like I'm part of that family forever. So it's not that, but it was definitely I just didn't feel, to be honest, I didn't feel good enough. But I would argue that everyone in my class felt that at some point, right. Because you're doing the acting thing 12 hours a day in the same room with everybody, and they're asking you to be vulnerable and open and get out your comfort zone. And if you do that for a year with only weekends, like that takes its toll. So I think there was a bit of that going on. I think life, isn't it? It's like people's lives. I think I was just this. But like I always say, for me, like Bristol, I wouldn't be sat talking to you because I wouldn't have done anything if I hadn't gone. So yeah.
So let's move on to Game of Thrones, if we may. What's obsessed? What season was it that you entered? It was a little bit further into the show, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did 5 and 6.
5 and 6. What was it like going into something already established as huge?
It was pretty intense, actually.
Yeah.
But in a very sort of lovely way. I was made to feel really welcome the second I stepped on set. Mm-hmm. I think Maisie was she old enough to drink yet? I can't even remember. I'm 10 years older than Maisie is, right?
Right.
But I'm not 10 years more mature. Definitely not. She's actually very mature, and I'm not as mature. And so we got on really well. I'm trying to think it was kind of, because the first season I wasn't in it very much, and I actually wasn't. It wasn't that I wasn't meant to be brought back, but I wasn't optioned to come back or anything like that.
Right.
So it was a bit of a shock when, do you want to come back? And like, we've got this big storyline. And I was like, yeah. Yes,
amazing. So you love it when that happens.
Which doesn't happen very often to me. So I was like, oh, great. And yeah, it was, it was a madness, but everyone's awesome. It's that thing, we say it all the time. Everyone's really lovely, but genuinely, they all were really, really lovely.
You had quite a lot of fight scenes.
Yeah.
Fight scenes. So did they give you fight training and get you fit for that?
Yeah, we did. We did about a month. I was flying over to Belfast, and there was this big stunt tent set up, and in there was like the sticks that we just used to hit each other all day long.
Yeah.
And the way they did it was sort of choreographed like a dance. So Maisie and I, we did most of that in the final. Yeah, because we trained, it was just a dance, so it was just dance movements. So this goes here and this goes here, but it was so much fun. It was really knackering. When we were doing it in Spain, it was also really hot. So we were like braiding, really, running down the street, and I was like sewn into my costume. And I remember one day being like, oh my God, please get, like, I started having like a mini panic attack because I couldn't breathe. So I had to like get the scissors out and like pull my jacket off. And oh, very dramatic, darling. Oh, very dramatic. Yeah.
God forbid you need a wee.
Oh, babe. Oh. And I am a weir. I'm just a weir. I just wee all the time.
Just a wee.
And then, you know, you've got your mic pack on, and like I've dropped my and it's just like, it's a nightmare.
Nightmare. Yeah. Was that all self-tape auditions for Game of Thrones, or did you go on tape and then get in the room?
I went in the room for the first one, but it was the lovely, lovely Nina Gold that was casting it. And it was assistant, and I met her. And to be honest with you, if I'm being really honest, I got the audition for her, and I went, Game of Thrones, not a chance, I won't get this. So what I did was relax. I just was like, I'm not going to get it. So I'm just going to enjoy it. That's all I'm going to do. Is I'll never do this again. I'll never get to say these words again. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to have a really nice time doing it. And then I'm going to give them the sides and go, cheers, bye. And I'll never hear from them again. And of course, when you do that, you relax.
Yeah.
So then I got a recall, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But okay, recall, I'm not going to get this. So I'm just going to go in, I'm just going to relax. And I can't remember if I had another recall, and then I met Dan and David, the showrunners, in a room with people with like boots. So then I knew it was getting a bit serious when I went in. There was like 9 people in there, and the
grown-ups.
Yeah, the grown-ups, and there was like a bigger camera. And there was a cameraman that they'd hired. And usually, you know what it's like. There's a casting director and a little camera, and they go, okay, off you go. And they press a little button. And no, this was like this was lit. It was lit. There was like, you know, an area for Faye. There was lots of people doing this. And so I knew that was serious. But again, I was just like, I'm not going to get this. And then I did. So, cheers.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how did you go about creating not only that character, but all your characters? You know, what is your process?
I wouldn't say that I have like a specific process. I think every character, it's different because of what that character requires. I think that for me, the main thing is that I can't, it's got to be a physical kind of embodiment. So I start with what things feel like from the inside, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Right.
You know, the sort of physicality, but not like how would this person walk. It's more to do with when the lines are said. Where is that being felt? I don't know how to describe it. I wouldn't say I've got like a specific, and then I do this and then I do that. I look at the character and I go, all right, what does this person need? How different are they from me is a good one. So what are the similarities to Faye, and what are the differences? And then I'll always try and lean more to the differences because they're the more interesting things to play anyway, right?
Yeah.
With the safety of bits of Faye, because, you know, I am Faye at the end of the day, and like, you can't, you know, completely be someone else. That's impossible. But I try and lean into the things that are different and the things that I'm frightened of. So,
would you say you always bring a little bit of Faye into your characters somewhere?
I think you have to, because you are that person, right? I am Faye. Yeah. I think it's more to do with. I think the most important thing is empathy when you're trying to put a character together. I think regardless if they're the most nastiest human planet, you've got to find, you know, the empathy for them somewhere, because nobody is inherently evil, or if they are, there's been a situation that's caused that. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but no. For the real, like, you know, there's always damage because
yeah, you have to sympathize with the character, don't you? For sure.
Yeah. Otherwise it's you're playing. You pick supermarket choices. Someone said this to me the other day, which I thought was good. You know, you read a scene and you go, oh, oh, the supermarket choice here is they're angry. But you know, you mess about with it a bit more, and you go, well, why? And are they actually completely devastated about something, or someone really hurt them? That's all the stuff I like finding out. Like,
Yes.
Where's the human? Because that's what we're meant to do, right? We're meant to go, here, world, this is what that looks like. This is this behavior reflected.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that madness. Yeah. So empathy.
Everything's what? Sorry.
Empathy is really important. Yeah.
And what are your thoughts around fame? Because this job, you know, whether we like it or not, does bring a certain amount of fame with it. You unless you sort of are a jobbing actor and you manage to sort of avoid that side of it. What are your thoughts around that? Does it make you nervous? Did you want to be famous?
I mean, I am extremely private as a human. So in terms of being famous for just doing something, I don't ever want that. Do I want people to enjoy the work I do and get something from it? Absolutely. And, you know, does that bring notoriety? Not so much for me. I can mooch about and people don't really know who I am, and that's really lovely. But do I want people to respect the work? Yeah, of course I do. Of course, you know, I'm an actor, right? We like the sound of that, right? So it's good to be honest about that. Do you want to be famous and you know, celeb vibe? No, I do not. And I imagine for you, you've experienced, because obviously with EastEnders, that you must have had some real madness that must have been actually quite, I don't know, I mean, but that pressure, because the whole country knows who you are, right? And think you're that character, and that must be really weird. And with me, I can go my character and then bye. Where with you, I imagine that was just like, if you do the show, everyone's just, you know.
Yeah, back in the day, I mean, it was a lot. You know, there were millions and millions of viewers of the show,
and you were in that as well. Like, you were really standout. Like, I remember watching you in that, and always thinking like, she's good. Like, you know, so but in terms of you know, the country, this country loves soaps, you know, and that must have been quite a.
Well, I was so young, Faye, at the time, I think, you know, and I got quite a lot of shit, quite a lot of abuse on the street, you know, and it got easier as I got older. I think I just sort of started to stay in more.
Yeah, that's not cool.
You find different ways of managing it, and some days it's absolutely fine, and other days you just don't feel like it, you know. It's but like you say, it is, you're so recognized from being in that show. It's and you carry it with you constantly, my whole life, my whole career.
Yeah, and that must be, I've never had that as a thing. I mean, Game of Thrones, I haven't got the wig and the moody face on every day, right? Where the characters in soaps are much more recognizable, because what you know, you see they're real people, right? And I think I'd find that difficult. And for yourself, you are an actress, that's what you do. You're not the character from EastEnders, right? And that must be, I don't know, that must be irritating when you've got a full body of work that in the terms of fame, it's like, do you know, you can see the effects of that, right? And I think fame is dangerous for that.
Oh, it definitely can be, but I think there are ways of courting it. Some people go after it, and some people love all of that, you know, and others don't. And I think you just have to be honest with what is okay for you. And I was always really proud of the work that I did at EastEnders, and I loved the show when I was younger, and so I felt, you know, and I loved Janine. I thought she was great fun, so I always feel really proud of it. But yeah, there is another side that comes with it. What advice would you have? We're going to finish up on this for any young people wanting to break into the industry. What would be your top advice?
God, there's a lot. I think there's the usual one of keep going, because it's an industry that will tell you no many, many times before it'll say yes once. And that can be really hard, especially when you're younger, because we take things, well, we all take things personally, no matter what age we are, but certainly, but there is something about a young person being quite indestructible as well. And I think that if you just keep going and you're aware of no doesn't necessarily mean you're bad, it just means not.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. I think it's important to remember why you love it, and it should be about the work and about human beings. And I'm sounding really airy-fairy now, but I truly believe this. It should be about the work, and it should be about trying to understand human beings and connect with other human beings. I think that's what makes a good actor, and also what makes acting enjoyable. Even you know what it's like when you're at a unit base and you'll have a cup of tea. I mean, the whole thing is an absolute hoot, and great fun usually. So I think that it's important to keep your eye on why you're doing it, and not get swept up in Instagram madness and all the rest of it. And I think tenacity is a really. I remember someone saying, I was one of my friends actually at drama school, saying that tenacity needed to be my word for the year, which just meant that I needed to keep going even when I felt like poo, and I did. So. What else? Yeah, just know why you want to do it. It should be about the work, and keep going, I think, and try and get access to as much sort of training or advice, as you can, because we need it. We need to share what we've got instead of kind of squirreling it away to ourselves. And I come from a non-theatre background in a working class family in the Northeast, and I've done all right. So, if there's a will, there's a way, I reckon.
I'd say you've done more than that's perfect. That's perfect. And, your rejections that you got, not once, twice from the National Theatre, National Youth Theatre, just goes to show, keep going back.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had a quid for every no, even audition wise, even now I get told no, that's the world we're in.
Yeah, I'd be loaded.
Yeah, me too. God.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. You've been amazing. It's been an absolute joy having you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And good luck with everything with IAMPRO.
Thank you. And I look forward to speaking to you soon.
It's all right. Cheers, love.
Bye.